Here we are again for another installment of the complete Ryu guide to get you from Iron to Master rank 1 grade at a time. We've been all the way through Bronze, Silver, Gold 1, 2, 3, and now we're at Gold 4. Most of Gold we've been talking about Drive Rush. We've been talking about Drive Rushing in neutral. We've been talking about Drive Rush cancelling, particularly off low forward. So now in defense, we're going to talk a little bit about defending yourself against the Drive Rush. Now, one thing that you might want to do is just check people's drive rushes. So when they're drive rushing at you, you try and check it with the crouch medium punch, for example. I wouldn't recommend this till you get to diamond. It's frankly just really difficult. I can't do it, but I haven't really ever tried to practice it that hard. I think it is worth practicing, and you'll see something that we're going to practice now, some relatively more common variations of it. But checking drive rush, I think, is only really worth it once people stop doing other nonsense. So once people are not jumping as much, not drive impacting as much, these are things that you can really punish them for big time. Like when someone jumps and you hit them with a DP, you're going to hit them for about 1200 damage. When someone drive impacts on you and you cancel it, you're going to hit them for 3000 damage, half their drive gauge, and a bunch of corner carry. So it's much more worth it for you to focus your limited cognitive capacity on countering those moves rather than looking for the drive rush. At the higher levels, people stop doing those moves because the risk reward is not good and because people have better anti-airs, and they start working more on the drive rush. And then it's worth really practicing checking that. And that's when you finally, and I'm telling you, this is like Diamond 4 at the earliest, really start playing neutral with people, because you can't do these silly neutral skip things anymore. You have to actually get into the neutral. The main thing that you can do at this level to stop drive rushes is Fireball. Just keep that Fireball game going with Ryu. It's really important. It's a core part of his strategy. If you are intimidated to throw Fireballs, you will have all sorts of problems with all sorts of characters as Ryu. Just keep throwing Fireballs. If you get jumped in on once every now and then, it's not a big deal. You've got to be able to control the ground game with that tool. But what are some other situations in which drive rushes come up where we don't have the Fireball out and that we need to protect ourselves against? The first one, I think, that's really quite easy to stop from happening once you get used to it is people who drive rush in behind their Fireballs. And probably the lord of that, or the original lord of that, because I think nowadays Aki does it better, is Ken, right? So Kens often do this sequence. Oh, I haven't got it set up. Where are we? Let's go. They often do. Right, EX dry rush, and if you get hit by the Fireball, then you usually get hit by the punch afterwards as well. But this is super easy to stop with a drive reversal, right? So you should be parrying Fireballs anyway, right? And you can hit this drive reversal so late, right? So you can just parry the Fireball like you would anyway, and then when you see Ken drive rushing in behind it, just drive reversal in. Now, some better Kens might start adapting to this and drive rushing in and blocking, and then drive reversal is -6, but probably the match will be over by then, especially in gold, right? This doesn't come up that often. If you stop them from doing it once or twice, it'll just really mess up their sense for how they get in against you, right? Because Kens, until you get to the high levels, they just don't want to play neutral, even though Ken has really good neutral. So they'll jump, they'll DI, they'll Fireball drive rush, they'll regular drive rush, and they'll do dragon lashes. They'll do everything they can except walk towards you, right? And one of the main things they'll do is this. So just get used to parrying Fireballs. We talked about that in the previous level 5 video or level 4 video for Silver. And then when you see Ken running in behind it, just do a late cancel, drive reversal, knock him out. And you can also do this against the other two characters who are really known for this strategy, which is Aki. Where's she at? Over here. Right, let's have a look at Aki's version of it. Same sort of story. Just have her come in either doing a strike or a throw. But one thing I like to do when I'm practicing this stuff against Aki or Chun-Li, who we're going to do next, is that we don't just have her doing Fireball Drive Rush, we also have her doing Fireball Dash Up, because then we need to practice. I'm gonna have to turn this off and reset for a second. So we have first her doing regular Fireball Drive Rush, and then we want to do the same thing as before. So we want to parry this Fireball, and then we want to drive reversal her, right? Once we see the flash. If we don't see the Drive Rush flash, then we don't want to do the drive reversal. And so to practice that, we also have her doing Fireball into nothing. Just Fireball and chill. And then we just want to parry that Fireball. Maybe even walk towards her, right? Because Aki is usually a defensive character. So we want to get practicing our jump ins. But then every now and then, if we have her also do drive rushes, then she's going to be drive rushing in behind it. Ooh, and then we can get stuck, right? So we've got to get used to reacting to that. And then finally we have also this option where she's just going to dash in behind it a bit, that one, right? And then we've got to check her. So this, I think, is a really nice realistic situation where we can practice. Sometimes you can even just parry and punch her, right? Right, but if she was to press a button there, I would die. I've got her set to throw, that's why I can jab her out of that. But that drive reversal is going to beat everything that she does except block. Okay, so I think that's what you want to practice. And similarly against Chun-Li's, I just don't understand why players in the lower levels are just so terrified of neutral. Like, neutral is fun. Like, this is where you really feel like you've outplayed your opponent. Like, you're not doing cheap shit. You actually, like, tricked them into putting out a button and then you whiff punish them big, right? I find that so satisfying, and that playing footsies and winning at footsies is so satisfying that I don't really understand why no one wants to do it and everyone just wants to drive rush and do various cheap safe options. So the Chuns, for example, will mostly just run away from you for most of the game. They'll use her very fast back walk speed, and then they'll be coming in with this sequence, right? Let's have a look. They'll be doing the slow Kikoken Fireball into drive rush. And so we want to have that, but we also want to have her going low, maybe, right? So I think on the first one, what do I have her doing? Throw? Oh, just a medium punch. So we don't really need that one necessarily. Maybe we just have the low and the throw. I think this one's throw. Yeah, right. And so we want to... Occasionally you could just try and check it. As you get better and you get perfect parries, that's what you want to do. So the high level play is often about, you'll see the high level players perfect parry the fireball and then check the drive rush with a low button, and that'll give them a full combo, right? But you're not good enough to do that, trust me. So you just want to get used to drive reversaling. The drive reversal against Ken is totally awesome because Ken spends 2 bars on his EX and then a bar to drive rush in behind it, and you just spend 2 bars to blow him away. So you actually end up ahead in the drive gauge economy. Here you're not ahead in the drive gauge economy because they only spend 1 drive gauge to get in, but you do get to get on top of them, which is quite fun. Alright, and then once you've got some Chun doing that, then also put in the fakes, right? So one where she just does a fireball and we want to parry that. Oh, I've got a perfect parry there, so I could have actually gone for the sweep, but that's very advanced. I wouldn't worry about that. Definitely master level stuff. That's like, you'll see a lot of videos on YouTube that are like 5 tactics that you have to integrate. That'll be saying just perfect parry the fireball and then you can get a sweep out, or just perfect parry the fireball and then you can get your own fireball out. I mean, just perfect parrying the fireball is actually really difficult. Right, so I don't think that these are reasonable things until you're master level. Right, so if I drive reversal when she hasn't done anything, then I'm gonna get smashed. And if I do it when she dashes in behind it, that's also gonna be bad. Right, so I got her there, but she could easily block that, right? She could just walk in and block, and then I would be in trouble. So turn all of these on, and just practice parrying the fireball, and when you see her drive rush in behind it, then you're going to reversal. You can press that reversal like really late. Ooh. Oh, that was too late though. We don't want to get drive impacts. That's going to get us into a lot of trouble. Just keep an eye out for that flash. And this is of course even easier once you've identified that your opponent is doing this sequence all the time, that they're always drive rushing in behind their fireball. Then you can let them know. Alright, so that's the first thing to practice. The next thing to practice is harder. So let's go over to Bison. Alright, now this skill, I'm not going to lie to you, I think this skill that I'm about to show you here is extremely difficult. Like, I practiced it for maybe 15 hours in the last 40 hours of Diamond that I was doing. Maybe I didn't do 40 hours. I don't know. It felt like I was practicing it a lot and I barely got it out in matches. And part of the reason why I've got Bison here is because Bison's a character that abuses the thing that we're trying to stop here. And there was one Bison in Diamond 5 who just had no game. Like, he would basically do this sequence at me over and over again. And it's just so powerful that there's not actually much you can do against it. Even if you can see it coming, even if you're looking for it, whatever, even if you know the strat, it's still just that powerful. And I think that's why Drive Rush is a bit silly in this game. And you do see pros doing that too, where they're playing against a Yuri or a DJ or something, and they're like, come on, just Drive Rush at me, Drive Rush at me. I know you want to. And they're looking for the counter, and they still get hit by the Drive Rush because it's so hard to react to it. So what you're going to have Bison do, oh, let me get to the kind of neutral situation. All right, is the following sequence. All right, this is the only thing I've got. All right, he's going to Drive Rush in and overhead you, and then he's going to back up and do the sweep and come in with a Drive Rush. And what you want to do is drive reversal the sweep. Alright, so that situation there is really in your favor. They spend 3 bars. There's nothing that the drive reversal doesn't beat. Alright, if you drive reversal there, it doesn't matter if they did a pure block string into jab. It doesn't matter if they did a straight into throw. It doesn't matter, whatever they do, the drive reversal will beat them. The problem is that you have like 3 frames in which to put in that reversal, so you have to expect it to come. Now, because the Bison players are just constantly doing his low forward into drive rush, you can react. But his drive rush is so fast, the Psycho Skedaddle, that if you don't know that it's coming, this is really hard to do. But it's really worth practicing, and you just start with this. And then you can also have him come in with a low instead of the overhead initially, and just do the same thing. So you get used to practicing against both of those entries. So that's a really bad situation. I don't want to do that. But if you know that they're always coming in with the sweeps, then you can hit him there. The problem is that when he cancels the low forward into drive rush, he gets a ton of extra frames. And by the time players are in Diamond, those extra frames to react in are more than enough for him to beat your drive reversal. If he was just doing low forward and then chilling, your drive impact would hit him because this has quite a lot of recovery. But because they cancel it into the drive rush, they can easily get the DI out as well. So you really don't want to be trying to do DIs here. You want to do drive reversal, right? But this is really hard. And I think this is worth practicing against a lot of characters. So I think it's also worth certainly practicing against Ken, because this is one of the main things that Kens do as well. Let's have a look. So I think I've already pre-recorded Ken doing some nonsense. Is that right? Or is this Ken doing something else? So this is him moving around. Yeah, so that's it. So I've got him just moving around, 2 selections. And then I think this one I've just got him moving forward and pressing low forward and drive rushing. Right. And then the last thing is him jumping. Because Ken also has this ridiculous downwardly angled fist of justice jumping heavy punch. So you have to be pretty quick on your anti-airs to beat him. And if you're concentrating on what's happening on the ground, then that becomes quite difficult. So turn all of those on and then just try to move around in the neutral. But don't back up all the time. Just make sure you're crouch blocking. So the main thing about Ken is that if he gets you with a crouching low, it's like so bad because he'll probably go into his flaming Tatsu and it's just full corner carry. So the main thing about beating Ken is to not get hit by the low, but then if you don't get hit by the low, you're going to get hit by other stuff. Let me get around to the other side. Ah, see, I'm concentrating too much. Oh, there we go. Ah, see, I'm just getting wrecked, and he only has 2 things that he's doing to me, right? Now, you can't back out of his pressure because his forward walk speed is too good. And it has so much range. Right? So anyway, that's another thing to practice. I think it's also really good to practice this against Cammy. So just have Cammy jumping in on you. Sometimes Cammy just raw drive rushes at you. Sometimes she tries to walk forward and hit you with this crouching low. And that's what you're doing with Ryu as well. So it's worth practicing with Ryu. Just have them come in and throw you as fast as they can. And that way you have to be quick with getting that drive reversal out. And this is really the only thing to practice for Gold 4 because it's really, really hard. All right, now I kept practicing this all through Diamond and I still don't think I really had it in my game at all. People were just doing blah blah block string and drive rushing at me with impunity and I couldn't stop it. But if you can stop it, drive rush is 3 bars, drive reversal is only 2 bars. So not only are you ahead in economy, but you also shut down one of the main ways that weaker players get pressure. And again, it's really forcing them into the neutral, and neutral is your world, right? Because you've hopefully been trying to play neutral since silver, and certainly you're walking people down and getting them in here and using your solar plexus and your medium kick and your donkey kicks and your own low forward drive rush into there. And you know, so hopefully you're just a bit more comfortable in this space than they are. And so by forcing them into this space, you should hopefully be able to get on top of them in the match. All right, good luck.